Without surrender, peace is impossible. The mind remains restless and lost in fear. Without surrender, we don't mature in meditation. Spiritual growth feels really slow and limited. Today, let's put an end to that. I want to share with you a profound teaching from the Bhagavad Gita, which will help you understand surrender. And then we will do a guided meditation on it so that you can really experience the power of this teaching and apply it in your daily life. In the Gita, as you may know if you have read it, Krishna speaks not as a person or a man. He speaks as the self. He speaks as God. He speaks as truth. Now, for the purpose of today's talk and guidance, you can interchange those words, whatever you are comfortable with. And the word I will choose for today's session is the self. Okay. So when Krishna speaks, he's speaking as the self, not as his self, as the self, which is also yourself. So what he says to Arjuna, he says, I am the father and the mother of this universe, and its grandfather too. I am its entire support. I am the sum of all knowledge, the purifier. I am the goal of life, the Lord, and support of all, the inner witness, the abode of all. I am the only refuge, the one true friend. I am the beginning, the staying, and the end of creation. I am the womb and the eternal seed. There's also another passage where Krishna mentions, those who worship me and meditate on me constantly, without any other thought, I will provide for all their needs. So these are the words that today's guidance is inspired by. Now, when we talk about surrender, this is what we are sinking into more and more. Realizing and giving ourselves over to this knowledge. I am the entire support of all that you know, right? So what we are surrendering to, which is our very own source, our very own self, it is that which is the entire support of all that you know to be real and valuable. All that we know to be life as we see it. That which we are surrendering our life to is the goal of life, the Lord, and the support of all. So in conventional day-to-day life, the ego believes that it is its own support. It is the controller of life. And that its support lies in the condition of the body or its finances or its relationships or its possessions, titles, status. But the real support of you is the self. That which you are surrendering to is that which has always been the support of your life. All these other things appear to be the support of your life, but that's the illusion of it. Now, this self that you are surrendering to is also the inner witness of all. So the the self that you are surrendering to is in somewhere over there in the other side of enlightenment or 10 years of meditation or after death. It is present in your experience as the inner witness. Therefore, you are inseparable from it, and you do not have any individual existence apart from it. It is also the abode of all, meaning like your home, your essence, your real resting place. The self is only also your only refuge. We try to find safety and protection in our beliefs, comforting beliefs. We try to find protection in money, people, possessions, things, status, even our own desires and fears. We have sort of grown comfortable with those states of mind. And that's where we also find protection, sense of safety and belonging and reality. But the only real refuge is the self, the inner witness, the Lord. And it is also your only true friend. Even the people who are closest to you in your life, they will leave you. All the things you take to be yours, like your land and your possessions and your even your own desires, even your own most intimate mental states and beliefs, even your own personality, there's no stability in it. It is not you or yours. The only true friend is the self. So that is where I wish to begin the guidance by saying this. Firstly, is that we think we have something, or actually, we should say like this: we think that we are a somebody who has something to surrender in the first place. We think this is my life, and my life I have to surrender. Oh my God, so hard. But the joke of it is that nothing is yours in the first place. Just this sense of possessiveness has come over us. This possessiveness, this feeling that I am the doer of this and I am the owner of this is the problem, is the ego. There is no such thing as me in my life. In reality, it's only an appearance. You only appear to be the doer and the owner of the life that is being witnessed. But that is not me, nor it is mine. It is just appearing. The more we can start to see this, the more surrender becomes simple, because what are you even surrendering? You have nothing to begin with. You're absolutely empty. Just let this life dance as it needs to, go where it must go, just like a river that is flowing of its own accord. Living in this way begins to absolutely destroy your pride, begins to absolutely destroy all the belief systems and convictions that create the suffering which we have grown so tired of. We want to become free of suffering, but we don't want to surrender our beliefs, our doership. We can't have both. To gain the greater, let go of the lesser. Okay? And opposite to what you may think, you know, when you when we hear the teaching of surrender, we feel that how will I live? What will happen to me? What will, will life fall apart? Will I become totally like a potato? Once again, all of these concerns can also be surrendered. And you come to find that actually it's quite magical. So today, look at it this as an absolutely new day in your entire spiritual journey, in your entire life, and summon the strength and courage to surrender if this resonates with you. So we can begin here. From this moment onwards, be absolutely open to however life may unfold. Start to understand that gain and loss are only appearances, and life flows through both. Sometimes there is gain, sometimes there is loss, but you are the changeless self, which is present in both experiences equally. Let go of such a strong attachment to what must and must not happen in your life. Be attached to nothing. Tomorrow you may gain something or you may lose something. Let it be so. To surrender is to embrace your nature. Your nature is pure allowance of whatever may appear and whatever may disappear. Don't try to figure things out so much. both personally and spiritually. Just start giving yourself over to this greater intelligence which rules the world. That doesn't mean things will always go perfect in alignment with what you think should happen and should not happen, what you think is right or wrong. Reality does not conform to your ideas of what is right and wrong, what should happen and what should not happen. But to understand the nature of reality, we have to let go of our convictions of what is good and bad, right and wrong, what should happen and should not happen, what I want and don't want. Wanting keeps you a person. On the surface, let there be wanting, but at the core of your being, know that you are the changeless, unaffected, desireless being, self. The only thing which is consistent in both pleasure and pain, profit and loss, success and failure, is the self that is present. Know that self to be your only refuge, your only safety, your only stability, your only truth. Everything else is subject to change. Everything else is inconsistent. Pay attention to the self, be devoted to the self, love the self, pray to the self, be grateful for the self, be the self. Mental theories, beliefs, arguing about what is right and wrong is for the worldly people. Let them have it. You become simple minded. Have the attitude, I don't know. For you don't. Enough pretending, enough believing. No theory is consistent. No belief is consistent. No idea is consistent. It is all subject to change. Surrender to the changeless. Be one with the changeless. Your inner witness, your true self, your only self. Regardless of what life appears to be on the surface, find happiness in the self. Find fulfillment, find truth in the self. A little challenging to live in this way at first, but you get through that difficult phase and you find utter simplicity and peace. Living in the current way of things, the conventional way, is endlessly difficult. So it's not really a difficult choice to make. Even the fact that you have this choice to make in your experience is itself a great blessing. When you are attached to nothing, then what can the mind hook into? How can the mind be restless? When you don't need life to go any particular way, then what can the mind be restless about? Wanting nothing, being attached to nothing, your personal expression is freed up to be what it is meant to be, what it was always meant to be. This teaching is not the end of action, it is the beginning of action. Action with attachment is bondage. Action without attachment is real service, instant fulfillment. To surrender means to cleanse your action from all selfish motive, rooted in me and my life, me and my sake, me and my benefit only. And that's really the beginning of personal authenticity, also, in which the person, ironically, gets taken care of better than ever before. Whatever problems you have been gifted with, experience them, appreciate them. The self has placed in your path the very thing you need. We spend our life trying to get rid of problems, resisting problems, running away from problems. But the problems and the obstacles and the challenges, they are all the self in form, teaching, guiding, helping us dissolve our pride. Have the attitude that tomorrow I may lose everything. But if that's where you need my life to go, God, self, then I will experience that also. Give me the strength to experience that without resistance. Give me the courage to be absolutely fearless in the face of uncertainty. Help me let go of my attachments to the impermanent. Have the attitude that me in my life is now no longer me in my life. It's the Lord's. It's the self's. It's God's life. Now just watch it unfold. The body will still act and go through circumstances. The mind will still think. But now you are only the witness. That is the position of surrender. You have become an empty vessel through which all experience flows without any resistance. That within you which resists this and fights for control is the very thing that needs to be looked at and seen as not myself. You are the witness even of the controller. Lose belief in it. See that it is also an experience you are aware of. It is not the self. Be careful with surrender, though. Ramana Maharshi says surrender is not a transaction that you strike with God. Don't do this with the expectation that it will transform your circumstances or give you enlightenment. See that very motivity. See that very sneaky mind which is trying to strike deals. And notice that that is not you. Neither is it your doing. It is also another appearance being witnessed by you, the self, that which you already are. Know that surrender is not a one-time switch. We cannot be perfect in our surrender, especially when we begin this practice. Something fights for control. Something continues to claw and resist and desire and expect. Observe it. Observe it and see that you are prior to it. It changes, you don't. Keep surrendering that also. Let it go. Let go of belief in it. Let go of pursuing it. Let go of giving it value. Keep coming back to life as it is, as it is, as it is. Not needing anything to change. Not being utterly invested in any particular thing. Just being. And then from there, just let life happen as it must. The body still acts, the mind still decides. Play the role, but don't take yourself to be the character. Desire the impermanent less and less. Start to see that the impermanent is of no value. It is satisfying only for a moment, a fleeting moment. Notice that with everything, your simple, tiny pleasures, and even your big objects of desire. Notice it with like the simplest of things, like the delicious meal you have, and then notice it with all, even the greatest desires that you've had. Only offers momentary, fleeting satisfaction. That is how they are meant to be enjoyed. But the problem is we invest our entire life in pursuing those impermanent pleasures. And we become attached to those impermanent pleasures. Learn to enjoy and experience without attachment. Don't make the goal of your life any objective which is impermanent in nature. Whatever you do here will be erased. That is its nature. Doesn't mean that you don't do it. You do it without any attachment to it. That is how to play life. For greatest simplicity, minimal suffering, and maximum spiritual clarity. So meditation leads the way. Surrender clears the obstacles. Surrender prevents the obstacles. For things only become an obstacle when we attach and resist and become attached to the impermanent. Meditation on the self, surrender to the self. These are the greatest destroyers of ego. The pride, I am the doer of life. I hope you enjoyed that teaching. If you did and you want help with your practice, join our free support group. And I would love for you to comment 2 things down below. 1, what was perhaps the most exciting aspect of this teaching for you? What resonated with you the most? And 2, where do you still find some confusion or difficulty with surrender? Comment it down below and let's have a talk. That's all for today. See you next time.